So, it's been a while.
Yeah, we've been on hiatus a bit. You know, life kind of got busy between both of us.
Right. Yeah, I mean, things happen.
Yeah.
But we're going to try to make it to be more consistent.
That is correct. We got some microphones now and some cool little things with it.
Right, we look semi-professional.
I know.
And I'll make sure the Rock Band logo is not showing on my mic.
Yeah, you don't want to get copyrighted for that, so.
It's
not. Mine has Konami, but whatever.
Okay. So, in case you forgot, I am Mario.
I am Jerry.
And we're the ones who run Lawn Gnome Thieves, who we have expanded. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Oh, snap.
You can find us on Facebook, just search for Lawn Gnome Thieves. Same on Instagram, Lawn Gnome Thieves, all one word. On Twitter, though, it is too long to be a handle.
So what is it?
So we are at L.G.T. Thieves.
Okay, cool.
So that's where you can find us. If anything changes, we will let you know. But we're also, this is potentially, could be our first podcast.
Yep.
With the mics and stuff, we can do some things that we didn't do before. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, we have some different projects on the horizon that we're thinking about. So we're pretty much at this point testing the waters and see how things go.
All right. So first thing that we are going to talk about, since we are doing a podcast, this is going to be going out. We got to make sure that we're covered, Jerry.
Okay. About what?
What kind of skeletons do you have in your closet? Because you know people are going to find out. People are going to dig in your posts because we're going to become people of influence. We're going to become influencers, Jerry. We're going to be like, I can't even think of anyone's name who's an influencer. I just know it's a thing.
It's a thing, yeah.
It's a thing. That's what we're going to be.
But here's the thing. We're not just influencers. We're artists. We're here performing art. You know, whether...
And that's the thing, though, that we're still going to be judged, Jerry.
And I guess you're right. You're right.
So, let's cover our bases. Jerry, have you ever done blackface?
I have not.
Have you ever... I was going to say brown face, but we're already...
Brown, yeah.
That's just God-given. I guess for us, have you ever done whiteface?
No, actually, I take that blackface part back.
Oh,
and it was recent, but it was more like
recent.
Well, here's the thing: it wasn't
in this day and age, in this culture, Jerry.
It wasn't in the sense of so much on, like in film. It was more like to take care of my skin. I put a black mask on. So that's as
like
close
one of
as
those charcoal masks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the closest thing to blackface I've done.
But like you didn't like go out in public. And
No,
say, hey guys,
no.
I'm Barack Obama.
No.
Or
no. Nope.
Okay. Good. And what about your tweets? Or your posts on Facebook, Instagram?
So
anything that can be held against you? Anything that will keep you from hosting the Oscars?
So my tweets is mostly just response to games, like Twitter games and stuff like that. And then my Facebook, I think in the last few years I've grown as an individual. I don't say it in the sense like I posted stupid stuff like racism, bigotry, whatever. But I was very immature in some of my tweets. Like, it makes me cringe looking at my my flashback memories. But nothing too insane. Well, how about you, Mario?
We'll just skip over that. I've never done blackface.
Okay.
I
would hope not.
No. Let's see. I will say. Back in my MySpace days, which thankfully, apparently all the MySpace history got deleted.
That's not true.
That's not true?
That's not true.
Okay.
I decided to look it up like a few months ago, and it's not true.
Why wasn't anything pre, like 2000 something?
I mean, I would recommend you to double check it. So guys, double check your MySpace pages.
Look up my MySpace page.
There's probably a lot of cringe.
Because I know, I can't remember exactly what I posted, but I know I posted things, and I had friends commenting like, dude. Oof. Back, yeah. Cringe before cringe was a thing. But I will say this. I don't think I ever posted anything too bad. Okay. I don't think I ever used any racial slurs. publicly.
Yeah. Well, in today's day and age with technology and social media and business, everything's about being politically correct. So as long as we didn't directly offend one person or said something too controversial, then we're good.
But here's the thing: is that I know we're supposed to be politically correct.
Yeah.
But I'm of the thinking, especially coming from my previous stand-up days, anything can be joked about. But I will say this, is if you're just a regular person and you're joking about something, with someone else, that can be, yeah.
And I agree with you, because humor has that kind of odd, not odd, but we cross a thin line, we walk a thin line, let me phrase. And sometimes joking about it brings it into more of a spotlight but not in a negative way, but more of a positive way where people can talk about it. So I think it's important. I don't necessarily think that there isn't a subject that shouldn't be joked around. I think it's all fair game when it comes to comedy, just because if you don't talk about it, who else is going to,
Right. And that's the thing, is that a lot of comedians, they may joke about a subject, but it could just be that that's their way of bringing something to light.
Yeah.
Because one of the big things recently is the Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis, I'm not familiar.
So you're not familiar with it? Okay.
No.
So it was huge on Twitter.
Okay.
I didn't really see much about it on Facebook and stuff like that. But so this past Saturday was the first episode of the new season of Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
And a few weeks ago, they announced 3 new cast members. Mm-hmm. They announced Shane Gillis. They announced Bowen Yang, who was the first Asian American cast member ever in the 45 years that they've been going. And then some girl that no one else talked about, because Shane Gillis and Bowen Yang took all the headlines.
Yeah.
So Bowen Yang took the headlines because he was the first Asian American cast member. He was already hired by SNL in past seasons as a writer, but now he was a cast member. So that was a big deal. He's the first Asian American.
Yeah.
Shane Gillis is a comedian who was hired by SNL, and literally 2 hours after they announced his hiring, people dug up his podcasts and tweets. Mm-hmm. I think it was mainly his podcasts.
Yeah.
Where they were saying that he used racial slurs, homophobic slurs, maybe some other type of slur, but the biggest one was his racial slurs.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that I saw the most of, the clip they shared, was, now I'm going to use a racial slur, Jerry.
Ooh, okay.
But this is just me quoting.
Okay.
Okay?
Just so you know, if it comes back to me, I was never part of this podcast. You can blur my face. And when it comes to you talking about the racial slur, everything else is okay.
So he used the word chink in talking about Chinese Americans, and about Chinatown, how it came into existence.
Yeah.
He said this on a podcast. Now, I am of the mindset that when comedians have podcasts, the podcast is just an extension of the stage. Mm-hmm. So I feel that they should be able to joke about whatever they want on their podcast.
Yeah.
Now, not saying it was a great joke and that's why he should be defended. I mean, not all jokes are going to be great.
Yeah.
But anyway, so people dug up that podcast, they shared that clip around, and so 2 hours after that, people were calling for him to be fired from SNL. Right, 2 hours after he just got announced as being hired by SNL. So I think it was 2 days later, SNL said that yes, they were not going to have him on. They let him go before the season even started. So people were calling for him to be, I guess, canceled.
So here's my thing. I'm sure each of us growing up, we were very immature. This day and age, there's been a huge shift in a lot of different movements. different rights and stuff like that. But sometimes like now seeing it in today's light, we grow up. It's not like we should be held against it. We truly were. Sure, we were ignorant being younger and stuff like that, or maybe we said something in bad taste. But overall, I think that we shouldn't be. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be held accountable, but there should be the other side of the coin where, yeah, we said those things, but we've also grown out of it. Like the James Gunn thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
When that whole thing with James Gunn from 12, 13 years ago happened, that was kind of the comedy and the style back then, that type of humor.
Now, I will say this, because since you don't know about the situation, this podcast was aired in September of last year.
Okay.
And then, so it's not that long ago. Not that, it matters to me, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but even then, it's still a year. You can make mistakes. It's just people tend to crucify you and want to put you on pitchforks. Yet, I'm pretty sure if we go through everyone's history, no one is a perfect saint in today's world.
Oh yeah. I mean, the people I work with can tell you.
Yeah.
Stuff I've said.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, so I get why people are zealous about political correctness, because they don't want anyone to be offended.
Yep.
And I don't think it's anyone's goal to offend anyone, especially a comedian. It's not. I don't think it's their goal to offend.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just might be because back from my years of being a stand-up, a lot of people go for that racial humor because a lot of times it's easy laughs.
Yeah.
It's easy to get that joke across. But I mean, in the right comedian's hand, anything can be joked about, like we said earlier.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I would even recommend to racial things like that. I don't want to say there's a reason why stereotypes exist, but if there's a collection of people and they tend to have the same tendencies and stuff like that, it's easy. I'm not saying it's easily identifiable, because in that way you're stereotyping. Because stereotyping has such a negative connotation to it. Whether that means you are doing it negatively, but it's also very positive, right? I'm not going to say any stereotypes or anything like that, but I think from what you're saying, it's also easy to identify with a lot of cast members or audience members, so much that you can make people laugh because they understand where it's coming from, rather than a unique situation that they have no idea.
So you're saying you're pro stereotyping and pro racial profiling?
Not necessarily.
Okay, that's what we're going. That's going to be on record. Jerry is pro stereotypes.
Everyone does it.
I get what you're saying.
Everyone does it, whether it's consciously or not.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Right. Like we were saying earlier, you can joke about racism because, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
That people have to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you have stories of racism you've dealt with.
Oh, yeah. Remember that time we did that the pepper challenge?
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
That pepper challenge?
So there was an incident that we went to Lenny's to do the Carolina Reaper challenge.
That was just earlier. That was
earlier this year, yeah.
That was just earlier this year.
And I got out of my car, and there was a couple. I won't say the race because
we can all assume.
Yeah.
I'll say the race.
Go for it if you want.
They were white.
So, they asked me a question, which I didn't understand what they said at first. They're like, "Hey, are we blocking your way right now? Can you guys get out?" And they pointed towards a pickup truck with the little trailer.
It was a
landscaping truck. And I was like, it took me a second to realize that's what they were referring to, because I parked a few parking spots over with a 2004 Liberty Jeep. So, it's not always intentional, but it's still very much existing.
Yeah, because they just assumed that you were part of the landscaping crew.
I didn't even look like I was dressed up for landscaping, right? But whatever.
Right, that's, like I said, that's just recent. I could think of just a few years ago, at a place I worked at, where didn't have any interaction with this customer.
Mm-hmm.
I was just counting some money at a register, and an older white guy walked by, looked at me, and said, he said, "All these fucking wetbacks come in here taking our jobs." Like I was like a scene from South Park.
Yeah.
But he was dead serious about it. It happens. I mean, racism does exist.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something that can be joked about, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like I was telling I was telling my wife Jen, who happens to be white. I said sometimes I think about the way I think about racism that helps me is I think about it as just it's the tax that we have to pay for the privilege of not being white.
Wow. I don't even know what to say to that.
No?
That's a very unique description on how to handle racism, I guess.
Just think it's just the tax we have to pay. Sometimes the tax is, being assumed as a landscaper. Sometimes the tax is being called a wetback. Sometimes the tax is being denied service at a Denny's in California.
Yeah.
Which happened to me and my family.
That's weird. Speaking of, I guess like since we're talking about more of like current political situations. So, do you remember that incident where it was a gay couple was trying to get like I think invitations made or something like that at some wedding store or something like that, and they were refused to?
Yes.
So I guess Arizona passed a law that it's actually kind of against it. No, not against it in the sense but it's more for people to kind of discriminate a little bit on that.
Yeah, it was the saying that they can use their religious beliefs to deny.
And I was also watching what is it? That show on Netflix with that comedian.
There's a lot of shows on Netflix.
It's the something report. I can't remember.
The
Patriot
Patriot
Act.
Act.
The Patriot Act. There you go.
With
the Patriot Act.
Hassan Minaj.
There was an incident that they're talking about how like there's a law that passed that doctors or whatever, they can deny people if they're not comfortable with their religion. So like for example, if someone was from Muslim extent or like homosexuals, transgenders or whatever, if they're not comfortable with it based upon their morals, religion or whatever reason, they can deny treatment on those people, which is completely 100% against like that doctor's code of ethics. So I feel like in some aspects like we went forward like 3 steps in when it comes to like racism and stuff like that, but yet we took another 3 steps back more recently with all these different situations coming across.
Well, there's a lot of things in that aspect you can think of that's happened. There's also that video. Did you see that video of that lady? I can't remember where it was at, but her and her husband ran a wedding venue, and they abruptly canceled someone's reservation to use their wedding venue. And when they were confronted about why, the lady who confronted them, she was recording her, she said it's because it went against her Christian values because it was a mixed race marriage.
Wow.
Because she felt that was unchristian. Because it was a white person and a black person getting married. And then later, she said she talked to her pastor, and the pastor was like, it doesn't say anything about that in the Bible.
Yeah.
So she was like, oh, well, I thought it did. But yeah, she was on video saying that she canceled that reservation because it was against what she thought were her religious beliefs.
Yeah.
Which turns out they were probably just her personal beliefs.
Yeah.
She just wanted to think of it as a higher calling, I guess you can say. So yeah, it's crazy times.
It is. I mean, obviously it's not as bad as it was, like 50, 60 years ago. But, there was a lot of progress, I felt like. But then more recently there's been a lot of regress. But
Yeah.
we'll see where our future takes us, though.
But you can't let that bring you down.
No.
You got to keep living your life
That's right.
to the best
You don't.
you can.
Exactly, and you don't want to prove those naysayers or whatever. You want to, it's like what Martin Luther King said, judge people based upon their character, not their color of their skin. Simple as that.
Right.
So,
Speaking of living your best life, Jerry,
okay.
you know who lives their best life?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I want to say it's us.
Well, besides us.
Oh, okay.
Marco.
Oh my god.
Marco lives his best life. So I'm going to show you a video.
If you guys haven't heard of Marco, let me give you a little background.
We'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the
So-
description.
So Mario has this weird addiction with this guy named
It's
Marco.
not weird.
This happened in November of last year, something like that. November, October, because he was also obsessed with this other weird music video that even for me was a little outlandish. And I guess him and his wife started talking to this guy named Marco, asking for requests. And, when you think of it in the aspect that, yes, everyone can have that rock star moment where they become internet famous. It's the modern day rock star dream. This guy, Mario, has just fallen in love with him. And,
I will say I don't watch him as regularly as I used to. He's gotten a little out there even for me, but I still watch.
this is...
So yeah, if you're not familiar, we'll put a link in the description to his channel.
But it's a guy, possibly with some type of mental health issues. We don't know. I'm not going to assume anything. But we'll let the videos speak for themselves. But he's been on YouTube for about a year now. And he has close to 10,000 videos.
That's asinine and insane. That's... I'm trying to think of the math right now. That's like 15 videos a day.
Yeah,
no, it's more than that.
there are some days where he doesn't post anything.
It's like
And
30
there are
videos
some
a day.
days where it's just like he posts 20 videos at a time.
Yeah.
And then he might post another 20 videos like later on in the day. So he is a he's a workaholic.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way. But he wants to be famous. And he put out a call for help.
Oh no.
All right, guys. So a message to all podcasters
Yeah, we're gonna
and
put the
famous
video.
people that can get
We'll add the video
instant
to the
attention, or even someone that's not so famous that loves to promote or really loves to promote without charging, obviously, or that doesn't mind me being on their channel. They put my best videos on their channel or whatever, their podcast, and they know, yes, his channel is going to be on there, so he might get paid for this because it's content ID, because it's my video. And you don't mind doing that because you do quite well, you want to share a video. That sounds really, really good.
So he wants to
By
be
all
promoted.
means, please share me on your channel, alright? I think it's,
So Marco, we are
I
sharing.
think it's really fun to have a channel. I think it's awesome. I see people that are famous. I know what famous looks like. I know what people look like when they're actually really, really
I love his
talented. I
jeans,
watch a
though.
lot of TV.
Ripped in so
I
many
know what
different
talent
ways.
is.
The cardigan.
I've seen it. I've seen
And he
people
has
do
the
quite well.
finger.
Obviously,
I actually-
the biggest
I
love is,
have
you know
that
how much
thing.
they made. It's all out there in the open,
Got it, that's a good
so you
one.
know. But yes, so I kind of get the sense that when I see even when I see just Melody,
So he wants to be
forgetting
promoted
how
because according to him, he is better than every celebrity out there. He's the best singer. He's the best dancer. He's the most handsome, the most beautiful, he's the pinnacle. He is the pinnacle of human beings. He even put out, he even bought a, like it's 1992 or something, he bought a bus bench ad for his YouTube channel.
This guy has. First of all, let me start saying, like, this guy reminds me so much of Tommy Wiseau. So much Tommy Wiseau. Like, it seems like just looking at his house appliances, like that lamp is pretty bougie. You know, this guy has obviously he has to have some kind of money from somewhere.
I saw there was one video he posted where he said he's a car salesman.
Okay, I mean that explains it, but you know, I'm not one to like this guy is obviously very passionate, and like so it reminds me of Tommy Wiseau where his art can potentially be enjoyed by plenty of people. To me, I'm still baffled by it, but we'll see what else Mario.
So here's an example, if you don't know who he is, which I'm assuming you don't, because we never knew about him. We stumbled across him on accident, because like you said, I was just looking at the different dance challenges of this Russian music video I loved, and I came across Marco, and then I subscribed like that day right after I found that video. But here's just an example of he does covers of various songs.
First one I ever heard it was a cover of Little Eyes by Fleetwood Mac,
And you can't listen to the original anymore because Marco's version is just that great.
honestly, since then I have maybe listened to the original once since then. So maybe it's because I haven't been so much in Fleetwood Mac.
So you hear that, Marco?
Or maybe
You are
Marco
now-
has changed my life.
Yes, you are the example of Fleetwood Mac in Jerry's brain.
Yeah, you know, say tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
So here is Marco
Which video?
singing Men in Black by Will Smith.
He has a slight
Here comes the rain, black and black. Can you see the Here comes the rain, black and
I think that's silent As you can see, he practices a lot. Because you don't get that. You don't get to that type of level of talent by just sitting on our laurels.
I don't feel like so much. I just practice a lot. I feel like he is very good at improvising. And it seems like all of his videos.
That's pretty generous, Gary. That he's a good
Well,
improviser.
here's what I think. Like, if you think this is him practicing very well, that means he's a damn good improviser.
So, like I said, there are close to 10,000 videos like this on his YouTube channel. He also has another character
Oh no, please no.
called Melina.
I'm okay. I'm
Here's 38 seconds of Melina, the most beautiful model, posing. No, she doesn't have to say anything because her looks speak for themselves.
I'm just not even gonna comment on this.
Look at that hair, Gary.
Also, may I add, I had no idea what we were going to be talking about today. Mario just decided to throw all of these video surprises at me. I had a general idea what we may have talked about, but obviously that was not the case.
So Marco, we're promoting you on our channel. At least I am. Jerry, are you throwing in your support?
I'm going to succeed from that comment, and yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Well, Marco, I'm supporting you.
Half of us support you.
I support the arts. Jerry does not.
It's just not my type of art. I'm sorry, dog. So, what have you been most recently obsessed with?
Most recently,
Yeah.
honestly, I've been watching a lot of. A throwback to that. I've been watching a lot of the Your Mom's House podcast. Just watching that a lot. Watching Bert Kreischer's podcast. A lot of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching on YouTube. I like watching it. Right?
Yeah.
I know some people just like to listen to the audio.
Yeah.
I like to watch it. I like to see the visuals along with
Yeah.
it. And because like Tom Segura's, he has years of podcasts that he's done.
Yeah.
Same with Bert Kreischer. I just got into watching Tuesdays with Stories. Have you heard of that one?
No.
It's with Joe List and Mark Normand. They're both comedians.
Yeah.
Who Mark Normand I discovered through who did I see him with? I think he was on one of Bert Kreischer's podcasts. And then I started following him on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, and he's become one of my favorite comedians. So when I found out he had a podcast with Joe List, who's also is a good comedian who I like, I started listening to that, and they have a lot of backlog, I guess you could say, of podcasts. So I've been watching a lot of those, where I get home and I'll put one on, and because some of those podcasts, those are like 2.5 hours, 3 hours sometimes, depending on how much they talk about, and I'll just watch it all. What about you? What have you been into lately?
I actually been listening to a podcast myself, just one. It's the Business Wars podcast. Shout out. It's a really unique concept where it's like, for example, like the first series that they do, it's a new series, like different episodes. The first one was Netflix, was Blockbuster, and they kind of broke it down. They had their own like little storyboard narration with it. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. I've also been listening to that Blink-182 album, the new one. It's amazing. Check it out. You should check it out. It's really good. Then for some reason I've been like addicted to the song "Always" by Eraser. You know that song?
I don't know.
Always, I wanna be with you, and let me leave with you, and live at harmony. No. But Always is. I prefer Always over.
That's your song.
I used to
right
sing
now?
that song a little respectable on Rock Band, but Always has been in my brain earworm.
Earworm.
Yeah. Little headset.
Okay. Like music-wise, I don't think I can't think of anything that I've really been listening to a lot lately. For a while, I was just listening to like Logic over and over.
Mm-hmm.
But now I can't think of anything. I still listen. Like I listen to a lot of music, but nothing like I've been listening to like nonstop.
Yeah. No, but pretty much that's it from us for now. Did we have a sign off or anything like that last time?
I don't think we did. Did we?
I don't think so. It's been so long.
Right. We can do the obligatory like and subscribe.
Yep.
Smash that like button.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we have a sign off. If you have a sign off recommendation for us, leave it in the comments below.
Yep.
How should we end these videos?
I feel like we need to do something like punny with Lawn Gnome Thieves, but I don't know what.
I'm not big on puns. I'm not a big pun fan.
Not surprised. I'm not surprised.
I never have been. There was back in high school. There was a few people who were huge into puns. They loved it, and I hated them for that reason, and that reason alone.
You're missing out.
I don't think I am,
You're missing out.
but
Other than that, that's us for the day. For this
Alright.
first video. So, we'll
we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I'll see you on the